it's worth and you don't know what you're missing. Everybody in the right mind gonna wish in. Oh. Okay, here we go. Ha.
Don't waste your time away in life. It's worth the wait. Never too late.
Hello rugby fans and welcome back to Clahany Park here in West Vancouver as we bring you the U18 Men's provincial final between Capilano RFC in black and yellow against Abbotsford in white, black and red. We'll get to the starting lineups in just a moment, but play is underway. Charging forward with the ball is Matt Fraser. He is going to offload to his right to Evan Johnson, who's at the bottom of that ruck right now. Bit of a sloppy pass scooped up by Caden. Check that, the wrong team. That's Tamar Tucker Harrison. As we'll get through the starting lineups in just a couple minutes when we get a break. Dan Marianelli charging forward, still inside the Capilano half. Penalty coming for Capilano. As we await the signal, offside is the call. And we'll update our scoreboard. We broadcast our game earlier this morning. It was the U18 Women's. Abbotsford defeating Bayside 45-3, as you can see there. Off the line out, the ball thrown over to number 23. I apologize, I don't have a full roster listing from Coach Curry Hitchborn. He was late with some jersey assignments, so we'll do our best with Capilano. But we do have a full roster for Abbotsford, starting in the front row, number 1, Andrew Meyer, number 2, Adriano Cereviziati, number 3, Ryan Chandler, number 4, Luke Redout, number 5, Christian Moraletto, 6 is Aaron Ha, 7 is Chris Combs, 8 is Matt Francoeur, number 9 is Caden Garrett, 10 is Noah Bain, 11 is JB Oostenbrink, 12 is Jake Teal, 13 Josh Long, 14 Evan Johnson, and 15 is Matt Fraser. As we get ready for the first scrum of this game. A beautiful day here in West Vancouver. The field is in pretty bad shape though. We had downpourings of rain on Friday. We've had about 8 games played on this pitch since that downpour. It is sloppy, it is muddy, conditions will be a factor. Great push on that scrum by Abbotsford. And they have the ball coming out of it with some room to run. A great scoop tackle there. But Abbotsford is able to retain possession. Running forward at the line. Our Abbotsford forward in the scrum cat. Looks like he took a bit of a knock to the head. He's down. That is Jake Teal. And he is slow to get up, as was the man who tackled him. So we're going to have an injury delay for the next few moments, and it'll give us an opportunity to thank all of our partners who help deliver streaming rugby to you every Saturday of the regular season and for special events such as this Super Sunday, starting with Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avis and Young, Thorstenson's, Langara Fishing Adventures, Adidas, and Big Kahuna. So players still down as we come back from the commercial break there. As I mentioned, Teal was hit pretty hard as he carried the ball forward and he limps off slowly. Big loss for Abbotsford if he is going to be out of the lineup today. Didn't see a lot of action this year, just got into a couple of games, but certainly one of the forces for their squad in at inside center. Both players, and catch the number for Capilano, being helped off to the sideline as the two of them came into some pretty heavy contact together. So we'll get this scrum going just inside the 10-meter line on the Abbotsford side of the field. Ball looked like it had come out, but referee disagrees. That pass does not go to hand. Abbotsford does scoop it up and form Zaruk. Another high hit as that tackle looked pretty tough to take. And now some space to run. I believe that was Jones Belcher, who I have listed at 22. There could be some misassigned numbers and names. I apologize if I get that wrong, but we'll do our best to call it as we see it with the information given to us. And a penalty coming up to Capilano. So it's a pretty long-range kick from the sideline at about 30 meters out on this soft pitch with not a lot of room to work with as far as footing goes. We're going to go with the scrum. Check that tap and go. Check that kick into the corner by Liam Mahan, and that sets up Capilano quite nicely for their first attempt at the line, which we'll have coming up after this line out. Rodriguez throws it in. Capilano struggling to get the ball. It looks like they've lost it on the line out. No, they do have it back. Capilano pushing for their first points of the game, trying to spin it to their left. It is Elias Ergis making his move, brought down short. Now Rodriguez trying to get those extra yards. Tough work here from both teams. Quick pick and go attempted, stopped short. And now the try as one of the Capilano players does spill over the line after some resistance on defense by Abbotsford, but we have our first try of the game going to Capilano, to one of their backs. It might have been Mitch Cameron getting that one. I'll check the number. But we do have some points on the board to tell you about. So Capilano well working that penalty to gain the territory. regaining possession on the line out, and then eventually working it over the try line for our first try of the game. Liam Mahan will set up this conversion attempt. Kicking from the tee. Footing has been treacherous. So he'll try to get that left foot planted securely. A little bit of a slip, but the ball goes over. And that makes the score 7-0. Dream start here for Capilano in this, the U18 men's final. So we'll get the restart. Taking it just outside the 22 and going for a run. Still on his feet was number 22. Now spun out to the right to Mahan. He chips it forward where it's going to be collected by Evan Johnson. Chipped forward once again. Another couple of hacked kicks at it. And they're right at the try line, and a penalty coming for leaving their feet at the rock. So Abbotsford will escape what looked like a great scoring opportunity for Capilano. And Abbotsford will have an opportunity to kick into touch and clear their lines. Not a whole lot of territory gained on that one, as this lineout will come just outside the 22-meter line. And Capilano, who have been on the front foot much of this game in the opening minutes, will continue to press. Should they be able to steal this line out? It's Adriano Cerevisiati who lines up this line out. He'll go deep, lifting just a little bit off time, and Capilano do steal it, but we're going to bring this one back, as that one didn't appear to be thrown in quite straight. So we have a scrum being awarded with the put in to Abbotsford. There must have been some barging in on that line out that I did not see, that the referee has called. Our referee giving instructions to both forward packs. Quite a lengthy discussion at that. Now both packs are set and engaged. Scramble for it as that pass hit the deck, and a clearance kick attempt is blocked, and now Abbotsford's in trouble, and a knock on right in front of their own posts. So pressure there by Capilano as they attempted to cause the turnover, and will do so via the knock on. We're going to have a bit of a jersey exchange and a player exchange for Abbotsford. Could be Quinn McLess coming in with the scrum cap, I believe it is. He'll be wearing, I believe, the 22 jersey. It's hard to tell from this range with the players' backs to us. We'll sort it out. But the main focus right now is Capilano's put in as they attempt to extend their lead. And the ball is out. Now attacking on the right wing. Quick step through, passed over to Liam Mahan, and he's in for the try. Well done, Capilano, to make use of that scrum and get the ball worked quickly over to the right, and Mahan is the man touching down in goal, and that extends Capilano's lead to 12-0. And Abbotsford really hasn't even seen the ball on attack yet, and Capilano's scoreboard is ticking over already. Mahan, the try scorer, will attempt to convert his own try. Strong kick, looks drifting wide, and it does drift to the left. So 12-0 will be our score going forward. It's about 10 minutes in. We're playing 30-minute halves. And it's been all Capilano in this game thus far. It's been a great day of rugby here at Klahanie Park. We've had several U18 bowl plate games going before this one, as well as the U18 women's mainland finals game. And this the last game of our afternoon. Off that restart, the ball is bobbled but collected by Capilano. Caden Garrett looking for it in the bottom of that ruck, and nothing to be played as we have a penalty to Capilano. And they'll have an opportunity to kick, but they're electing to go with the scrum here. And despite that lengthy set of instructions, the last time these two clubs engaged, our referee still not quite happy with the positioning of the feet, positioning of the forward packs. Of course, U18, they're still learning the finer points of scrummaging, but this one looks well bound so far. Now Garrett with the put in as that scrum wheels, and it does wheel around 180 degrees. So we'll try once more. Good push by Abbotsford, trying to cause the turnover, but the ball is being worked to the back of the scrum and is now out and is thrown to the right side, where it is picked up once again by the try scorer Mahan. He's taken to deck, takes a bit of a knee in the upper body, but he's okay. And we're going to come back to an earlier infraction just outside the 22-meter line, as we'll have another scrum. Bit of a choppy start to this one after the points being put on the board by Capilano, as Abbotsford still looks for their first offensive phase of the game. It's tough to get anything going when you're down 12-0 before you've even really had the ball. But with this put in, they will have an opportunity to go on the attack. Ball thrown to the middle of the field, where it's McLess popping that one into the air. Lots of players in the ruck there for Abbotsford. Big power move into the middle. Capilano have caused the turnover and have also earned the penalty for not rolling away. Deciding what to do, they go with the tap and go option. Caden Garrett goes decides to go left to number 23, Captain Jackson Claridge. Claridge's grandfather was a very well-esteemed member of the BC rugby community, a vicious competitor, definitely known for intimidating his opponents on the field, played a long, storied career with Cats, also represented BC on several occasions, and was also inducted into the BC Rugby Hall of Fame. So it's a rugby family that Claridge comes from. And we'll see if he is as ferocious a competitor on the field as his grandfather was. We remember Bill Claridge's passing earlier this month. Saddened the rugby community, but certainly a well-lived life and a wonderful rugby player. Abbotsford with an overthrow. It's going to be scooped up. Going for a bit of a run was 19 Chad Cohen, and a penalty. Leaving their feet in the ruck. And just inside the halfway line, Abbotsford will kick for territory. That's a good looking kick. And that'll bring them inside the offensive 22. To the best of my knowledge, that's Adriano Cerevisieti throwing that in. He's wearing a 22. That might not be right, but that was number 22 throwing it in. And the ball is held up as the players form the maul, which goes to ground. And a penalty to Capilano, as that maul was unplayable. So we're still trying to dictate who the stronger team is in these scrummages. We've had lots of opportunities to have the players engage now. A little bit of pushing early. And now a good push by Abbotsford. We've seen that a couple of times now, but no turnover coming from it as Capilano try to clear their lines by using some open space. Quick running by number 13, Mitch Cameron, but that offload not quite as planned. Capilano do retain possession, however, and it's Liam Pfeiffer who is tackled just inside touch, and now the ball is in touch, and we have the flag go up, and we'll have a line out to Abbotsford. Abbotsford able to put a couple of phases of offensive rugby together, but no points to account for it. And the story of this game has been Capilano making the most of their opportunities, and Abbotsford just not able to build momentum when they've had the ball. Our referee not happy with that line out throw in. Some early lifting happening there. And so we'll get a scrum and a put into Capilano. Got a nice crowd of about 100 people watching this game here in the grandstand at Clahaney Park. You couldn't tell it's the middle of winter, as this day is broken about as well as it could have, considering the pouring rain that we saw first thing this morning. But that pitch is something else. It's in bad shape. And so it'll be tough slogging out there today for both of these teams. The ball is out. Jackson Claridge trying to find the gap, unable to. And we have another knock on. You can certainly see the ball is wet, the ball is muddy. We have a lot of handling errors from both of these clubs. And I'd like to see just some of the talent that we have on display here at the U18 level get a chance to work their skills on the open field. The referee still giving instructions even though the players are bound in the scrum. But that scrum does produce a ball that is spun to the right and a tackle made as Abbotsford try to work it forward. At the halfway line, a penalty to Abbotsford for once again player coming off his feet. We've seen that a couple of times now for Capilano. They'll be cautious not to continue to incur these penalties. Noah Bain's kick doesn't find touch as it's pushed back into play by Mahan. We'll verify with the touch judge just exactly what happened there, as it looked like Mahan may have had a foot in touch. But they're going to call that one a knock on, as he did save it from leaving the field of play, but he did push it forward in the process. Some talent on the sideline as touch judge Chris Asmus was the touch judge at the USA Eagles versus All Blacks game in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, and he's touch judging the finals here today. Not exactly the same skill level between those two matches, but definitely some good skill on display here as Abbotsford make a run for it and heading under the posts, in for the try. Wearing the number 22 kit in the scrum cap, I believe, is Quinn McLess. I could be wrong. They've changed jersey numbers a couple of times. But that was a great run through open space for Abbotsford. He's not even wearing the same kit as the rest of the club. It's white, but different shoulder numbering or patterning there, so it's definitely a replacement kit. And until I'm corrected otherwise, I will say that that was McLess, and the conversion was good. So 7 points to Abbotsford as they begin their comeback attempt. And I've had some assistance. I've been told Josh Long was the man who scored that try, and he is down on the field as we speak after taking that hit off the restart. And so he's in some duress. And is being attended to by the trainer right now. Some tough contact on that high ball on the restart. So you've gone from a high point in the game, scoring a try, to a low point, trying to claw yourself off the deck. That's the tough aspect of rugby. It's full of emotional highs and lows, and he's probably feeling pretty low right about now. He will try to shake that one off and remain in the game as he limps away. But back into the pack, surrounded by his teammates who are encouraging him for a display of strong toughness there. However, as a result of that hit, we have a knock on once again. And this put in for the scrum will be coming to Capilano, who are able to use that restart effectively and cause the turnover with the high ball, the tackle, and the knock-on. Does Capilano have a response for that Abbotsford try? The ball comes out very quickly. And Caden Garrett tries a bit of a desperation throw as he goes deep, but it does connect. And the ball is bouncing around on the deck, scooped up by one of the number 22s by Abbotsford. They do have a couple of players wearing the same kit number, so that helps me a lot. We'll do our best. And we'll redo this scrummage attempt once again. It's got to be hard to dig in there for both these forward packs with the dirt absolutely waterlogged and just giving way whenever they try to get their boots in there. We've seen a couple of good pushes in the scrum from Abbotsford so far, but they haven't been able to turn the ball over. Capilano with the put in. And again, a strong push, wheeling the scrum by Abbotsford. And this time they do turn it over, but our referee is going to bring this one back. So Capilano have had the ball for most of this first half. But just one line break was all that Abbotsford needed to get themselves back in the game, which we saw moments ago from Josh Long. That ball comes out of the scrum once again very quickly. Claridge to his left, offloads. The ball hits the deck, and both teams have a player diving in after it head first. Capilano collect it. And will now set up set play here. Francoeur ahead, leg tackle, spinning away out of a tackle. Number 21, Hilliard. Check that, wrong team. Now Lane Mahan has the ball. He gets it over to Elias Ergas and is held up briefly before the penalty is called. Within range of the posts, Mahan's thinking about it. They're going to bring it back for an offside call. I like the kicking option here. So does Mahan. He'll go for the posts. With an opportunity to push the scoreline past one converted try. We've seen some pretty tight games in the earlier matches between Velox and Burnaby, for example. That game was decided by a try in the dying moments. So you never know when these points are going to come to usefulness. Probably in the dying minutes, you wish you had every 3-point penalty that you could have accumulated, as Capilano looks to just put a bit of a buffer onto their scoreline. Mahan's kick is good, and it's through. So 3 more points for Capilano, extending their lead to 8 by a score now of 15-7. And that wraps up our first half of play. So Mahan doing a lot of the damage with the boot and scoring a try himself. It was Josh Long scoring the try for Abbotsford. And we go to the break. Still anyone's game, 15-7 for Capilano. We'll take a few minutes break here and then be right back for second half action. Please stay with us.
For every passion, there is an ultimate destination. A place revered by countless tales. For salmon fishing, that destination is Langara Island. Immerse yourself in natural splendor and enjoy the greatest fishing experience of your life at Langara Fishing Lodge.
At Canadian Direct Insurance, we've all had a first car, and a second car, and then something that more closely resembles a bus. We've carpooled, car tripped, and carpool tripped. We've even had car mishaps. That's why we give you the kind of service we'd expect for ourselves. Canadian Direct Insurance.
Silly Willy Billy is a million miles away. When I had a little mind that I needed him to say, but I don't now, cause I'm mom and dad, I'm a grown-up boy. Saving all my money, gonna buy myself a new toy. Took a jet to the bottom of the visionary mind, where I'm making up the words to a song that doesn't rhyme. If you can't see me, then you better leave a note. Wait, scratch that, cause I'm never gonna be at home. Home, such a funny little thought. Everybody thinks now that I ought to rock. Nah, true, if you know what's best for you. Shut my eyes down now, can I get a deep blue? Sipping 7 up like a full-grown man. Even got a beard now, got it looking so grand. On account of the gland in the middle of my palm, and I can't admit I don't belong. Gotta jump now, it's almost 75 degrees. If you're looking at the wing, I bet you feel the breeze. Got enough sun now to make the skin wanna dive. Outside one time, let's fly, high rise. Got an itty-bitty care on the itty-bitty earth. If you don't know what to wear, then you don't know what it's worth. If you don't know what it's worth, then you don't know what you're missing. Everybody in the right mind gonna wishing. Oh. Okay, here we go. Ha!
Don't waste your time away in life. It's worth the wait. Never too late.
For every passion, there is an ultimate destination. A place revered by countless tales. For salmon fishing, that destination is Langara Island. Immerse yourself in natural splendor and enjoy the greatest fishing experience of your life at Langara Fishing Lodge.
And we're back for second half action here at Clahany Park between Abbotsford and Capilano. Capilano leading this one 15-7. We got some very dramatic music in the background setting up our second half of the U18 men's final. Abbotsford did not see much of the ball in that first half, but did manage to get one line break by Josh Long, who went in for the try to get his team back within reach. The score at that time was 12-7. Capilano able to put one more conversion, check that penalty on the board before the half expired. So that's where we sit at 15-7. Ball handling has not been as clean as either of these two sides would have liked. And we've seen a number of scrums. One of the other interesting parts of this game has been calling player numbers, as there are two number 19s on the field for Abbotsford, as well as two number 22s on the field for Abbotsford. So we're doing our best to recognize the names of all of these up-and-coming young rugby players, and there goes one of them right now. That was, I believe, number 11, Liam Pfeiffer, advancing the ball for Capilano. Now another opportunity, getting away from the last tackler, and over the line was Dan Marianetti. And a well-worked play quickly formed for Capilano, as there didn't appear to be too much on, but suddenly it was a break for Marianetti. And he is able to quickly put points on the board to start the second half for Capilano, as they take their tally up to 20 on the game, with a conversion attempt to come. That conversion attempt drifts wide. So 20-7 is your scoreline. Certainly well within reach for Abbotsford should they be able to organize themselves in the second half, but that was not the way they wanted to start this second half. The last half of their season, they'll want to leave everything on the field, and time will be their enemy, as there is about 27 minutes left in their season, trailing by 13 points and kicking the ball away right now. I don't think that went 10 meters. And as soon as this one's touched, we'll get a penalty for failure to get that restart, the required 10 meters of distance. Right at midfield, we'll do another scrum. It's number 12 coming on. But I don't think that's Jake Teal. He's wearing Jake Teal's number. I believe that was Jake McLean coming in at number 12. That pack is held up as Abbotsford tries to put together a play on offense. Collecting a high ball was Ryan Chandler, gaining a couple more meters. But that ball slips. And we'll get a scrum. Pass thrown well out of the reach of Claridge as he jumps down on the ball, but we're going to get a knock on. There's some pushing and shoving, and it looks like a punch thrown. As tensions build between these two clubs. And the players sorting themselves out with the assistance of the referee. I don't see a card coming from his pocket yet. And so he's deemed that what could have been a punch just to be a swing, and they're not going to call that as a major infraction, although things did get a little chippy down there just a moment ago. End result, penalty for Abbotsford. And they're going to kick for touch, and that ball stays in play, and it might even be through the goal area, but it was collected by Mahan. And did he call a mark just outside of his own try line? I believe he did. And he'll decide to go tap and go, and they'll try to run this one out. Bit of a risky move to run the ball right off your own goal line. So far it's paying off, as Capilano have run it out to the 22. Fly half met quickly and brought down. A couple of Abbotsford players in the tackle there, wrapping up their man nicely. Capilano having a hard time breaking the gain line as they try to push out of their own end. That pass goes to ground. And again, some anger between the two clubs as players get locked in there on the deck. And teammates restraining and holding them back to ensure that nothing comes of it. And what will come of this is what looks like a penalty to Abbotsford. In the end, it's just a scrum for the knock-on. And Abbotsford desperately needs to make the use of this scrum put in to try to get some points on the board. They are inside the opposition 22. It is time to think offense. They are down by 13 points with time ticking away. They'll need to use this one effectively. Now they've set themselves up well, just 10 meters outside goal, right in front of the posts. They'll try the quick pick and goes, couple of meters at a time. Still some work to do. As everyone stays on their feet and that maul is formed and it's driving forward towards the line. Not far to go now. The ball is out, the kick is blocked. And we're going to get an infraction and a penalty to Capilano. So good work there by Capilano to cause that penalty, which will give them an opportunity to get it into touch and clear their line. A good attempt by Abbotsford to get another try on the board, rebuffed by Capilano. And because of the penalty, it will be a Capilano put in on the line out. And our referee, working with touch judge Chris Asmus, giving some instructions to the Abbotsford lifters. Some early movement there. Let's see if we can clean this up. That throw is in. It goes over the man intended at the number 20 jersey, but it was scooped up by Capilano, and they will try to work this one out of the bottom of the ruck, and they do. So the pressure comes off as Capilano is able to work the ball out of their own 22 and slowly forward, coming up to the 10-meter line. And with that room to breathe, they will have an opportunity to try a couple of plays, as right now they're just choosing the quick pick and go movements. Elias Ergus, the man who had the ball there, was brought down. Now Claridge spins into a tackle. Bit of a hole here in the middle, quickly closes. Looks like an offside there, as the scrum half for Abbotsford was met very, very quickly. Check that, the scrum half for Capilano met very quickly by one of the Abbotsford players, and we're going to have a consultation between the referee and the touch judge to see if there was anything cynical about that play. But the tackler was definitely in there very quickly before the scrum half had the ball, before he was ready. And it was a blindside tackle. So you don't want to see anything dangerous caused by an offside play like that. And now the referee will give some instructions to the Abbotsford players, certainly looking to avoid similar incidents and trying to keep their players on side. And now they retreat back 10 meters. As Liam Mahan sets this one up on the tee, it's going to be a long kick. It looks like 41 meters straight underneath the post, but a long ways out. I kind of question this one just with the way the deck is pretty slippery. It'll be hard to get that plant the way he needs to in order to get that much distance on this kick. But he has elected to go for the posts. He's been successful with the boot so far this game, so why not test his luck? Mahan lines it up. Takes a deep breath. Connects well with the ball. It has the distance, but it does not have the accuracy as that one sails wide to the left. And Abbotsford looking to restart this one quickly. Noah Bain with the ball, coming back to the middle of the field where he'll set up the dropout here. That restart out of the range of all the Abbotsford players, and a counterattack opportunity for Capilano. And that looked easy, as that was number 13, Mitch Cameron, who said, okay, if you're not going to come in range of this restart, I'm just going to run with the ball, as that kick outdistanced all the Abbotsford defenders. And Cameron just went for a nice casual run into goal, scoring the try. And that might seal this game for Capilano, as they now lead 25-7 with an opportunity to make it a 20-point lead. With not much time left, I would say probably about 10 minutes or less left to go in this one. And Mahan had the distance from 40 meters. He'll certainly have the distance from just outside the 22. That kick is up. And this time it is good. So he missed the penalty, but he makes good on the conversion. And that extends the Capilano lead to a full 20-point margin, as they are ahead 27-7. And And I don't think Abbotsford has 3 converted tries in them at this point in the closing 10 minutes. But they will certainly be pushing hard to see what they can get in the time that remains. Off the restart, a little more closely defended by Abbotsford this time. And a not rolling away penalty that Abbotsford is charged with. Capilano takes it very quickly. Slipping a couple of tacklers and getting back to his feet. Defending a couple more, and now it takes about 6 players to take down the Capilano man. I'll check the number. It was buried before he went to deck. That was Elias Ergis, number 12, and that sets up an opportunity for Capilano on the far side. The ball comes out of the ruck quickly. A bit to the surprise of the Capilano scrum half. And now it's slowed down, and they will try to use this one a little more effectively and organically. And one of the 19s for Abbotsford in the tackle there. I would take a guess at the number. Number 19 on my list is listed as Chad Cohen. It might not be, as there are 2 number 19s out there. And now a penalty to Abbotsford. Just inside the halfway line, and they'll kick this one to touch. But a pretty suboptimal kick leveled there by Noah Bain gives Capilano an opportunity to counterattack. Bit of a show and go, and then a pass finds the hands of number 21 for Capilano, one of the subs. Don't have his name, fortunately. It's Jackson Claridge on the bottom of that ruck. A bit of interference being run there, but offside is the call. So a penalty to Capilano. And Mahan chooses the tap and go. And that ball is spilled. As Mahan quickly shoveled off the ball to one of his teammates who didn't quite anticipate it. And while we set up for the knock-on and the scrum, BC Rugby would like to thank all of its partners who help bring us streaming rugby coverage on Saturdays and on special occasions such as this Super Sunday. We'd like to thank Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avis and Young, Thorstenson's, Langara Fishing Adventures, Adidas, and Big Kahuna. Well, we're into the last 5 minutes. The result not in question at this point, but the scoreline is, and Abbotsford will want to finish this season strong, even if they don't get the result that they were looking for. And Capilano, on the other hand, are looking to get as many points on the board as they can. They'll want to get as much insurance as they have available. A bit messy in the tackle, but we have a penalty to Abbotsford, which they choose to take along the ground. That pass to number 25, not the best one, but it was during an advantage as Capilano had gone offside. Good run by the big man there as it takes a couple of Capilano defenders to bring him down. They'll come back the other way. They have a bit of an overlap. If they can get the ball out there quickly, that didn't happen. Capilano with the turnover. And they will just try to close out the final few minutes of their season, and they are well ahead, leading 27-7. Box kick, which we don't see very often. Ball dropped forward by Abbotsford, and that will frustrate number 16, who I have no name for on the Abbotsford roster, but that's okay. We will recap the scoring later on once I see the official game sheets. But in the meantime, this is, while it's an individual game second, it's a team game first. And Abbotsford trying to finish off the season strong. They've been in tough here against Capilano. They fell behind 12-0 early. And Capilano was able to come flying out of the gate in the second half, just like they did in the first, and extend their lead. We're going to bring this one back for the knock-on. As our day nears its conclusion, it's been a wonderful Super Sunday of rugby here at Klahani Park. The volunteer team at Capilano has done a superb job of organizing everything and getting Super Sunday ready. We had, I think, 8 games going on today. It's been a busy afternoon, lots of great rugby. We saw some pretty good matches ahead of this one. This one is not disappointed. The scoreline hasn't been as tight as maybe we would have liked, but certainly some good rugby on display. We've seen some nice individual skills. A good afternoon for Liam Mahan, who had the ball there. Capilano looking to push this one forward and unable to do so after the ball was dropped. The conditions were definitely hampering open rugby today with all that mud on the field and on the ball as well. So we have time for 1 or 2 more plays probably before the final whistle sounds. Capilano was pushed back in the scrum but retained possession. Now a misplayed ball hits the deck, and once again we have a knock-on. And Abbotsford will keep this one in hand and go with the, that's the scrum off the knock-on. Thought there might have been a penalty played there. I've been impressed with the Abbotsford scrum so far today. They've had some very good pushes. They've had a lot of opportunities to hook the ball back. It hasn't always worked out that way, but they've had good form in the scrum. And this time they retain their own scrum, but the pass goes astray and the ball slips into touch. That's also a forward pass. The Capilano Rugby Football Club has done a tremendous amount of work to build up their junior program, and they're reaping the rewards of that right now as they've worked extensively with the high schools in the area, and they have players and coaches that go out and foster the development of rugby here in West Vancouver and in North Vancouver. And it starts at the high school level and down to the junior level and the minis level. And you start to see these players developing some real skill by the time they're 18. They'll play U20. They'll potentially go off and play university rugby at UVic or UBC or UBC Okanagan or Victoria or Vancouver Island University. And many of those players do return after their university playing in the CDI Premier League, playing for the opposition, but then return to Capilano once their university days are done to play for Capilano RFC, who are near the top of the tables in the Canadian Direct Insurance Premier League. And a big part of that comes from that junior development and the loyalty these players have to the club. Something that we haven't seen a lot of in recent years is that player loyalty. Capilano doing a pretty good job of retaining players. And Abbotsford certainly doing a nice job of building their program. They have some wonderful junior athletes, and their coaches work very hard. Jen Ross, for example, in the women's program, got their team into the women's final for U18, which we're going to see next week. So certainly the culmination of two strong junior rugby programs going head-to-head today in the men's final and in the women's final earlier as well. And we'll see more from all of these players in the years to come as they are still learning the game and developing those skills and getting bigger. But a lot on offer so far, as it bodes well for the future of rugby in BC. To have some good talent on the field at this age group. Crossfield kick, looking for space. There's no one back there, but there's also no one who will be able to run onto that one in time. And Capilano scoop up the ball, and we'll try to work it out on the ground, bundled up and thrown into touch nicely by one of the number 10s. Again, there have been a couple of jersey duplications out there. There are, in fact, two number 10s, I believe, for Abbotsford, unless maybe that's 16. Hard to tell from here. But at times, Abbotsford has looked much like their jersey numbers, slightly disorganized. They haven't exactly been in over their head by Capilano, but they have been outplayed. They have been outworked by Capilano, and they will have one last chance at redemption to get some points on the board here with a very nice line out, worked inside, right at the line, and a try scored. Textbook play. That's about as good as a line out as you're going to see, as that drops right to one of the Abbotsford players, one of the forwards, who takes it in over the line, and the try is scored. And a bit of redemption there for Abbotsford, who's able to chip away at that lead here in the closing stages, making that scoreline look a little more attractive. It is now 27-12 in favor of Capilano, with the conversion to come as all the players catch their breath. That kick is good, just barely. Did not have much distance on it, but just the required amount to get over the posts to make the score 27-14. And there certainly won't be enough time to get two converted tries on the board before this one's over. You won't tell the Abbotsford players that. They'll do everything they can to get as many points on the board as possible before that final whistle sounds. So Capilano has some defending to do in the dying moments. As Abbotsford once again had the ball off the restart, but the turnover is caused, and we have a forward pass that'll slow down the action. So shortened halves here at the U18 final, 30 minutes each. It is now 3:40 p.m. Since we got out right underway at 2:30 with the 10-minute break, I would say it's right at the very death. No options there. As number 22 goes into the air trying to find an option. Creative, but not super efficient. And Capilano caused the turnover, trying to work the ball to the outside man. That ball is Drott pouncing on it. It's a big Abbotsford forward, number 25. Hitting the line very well was one of the Abbotsford players, and they have a penalty coming up. Again, offside. We had a number of violations for Capilano in the second half, getting in there very aggressively. Probably won't harm them too much in this case, as the ball is deep in the offensive half. And that kick, not really a dropout, not really a kick into touch. Only finds Capilano hands, and the counterattack is on. Capilano trying to finish this game strong. Maybe one more try left in it, as they are 5 meters out underneath the posts and attacking. And the turnover with the penalty, as that ball was not released. And it looks like we're going to get a scrum. With the put into Abbotsford, so I misread that last play. My apologies for that. Abbotsford will try to run it out on the hoof. Here comes number 11 is JB Oostenbrink. We haven't called his name very often today. High clearance kick, trying to get under it. Was number 16 for Capilano, one of the reserve players, now over to number 17. I don't have a name. I was left a little shorthanded as far as the rosters go. But one man I can tell you his name, that's Mahan with the ball, offloads, and we're gonna bring this one back. And that is our conclusion. A wonderful season of U18 men's rugby. Your champions for 2014, Capilano RFC. So our final score here, 27-14 in favor of Capilano. They played a clinical game start to finish. They put points on the board early with a couple of tries in the first 10 minutes. They also started the second half very well with another try. Liam Mahan doing a lot of damage, scoring one try and also picking up about 16 points using his boot. And that is the story of the game. Coach Curry Hitchborn out there celebrating with his Capilano RFC players as the two teams shake hands and wrap up the 2014 U18 fall season. In just a moment, we will have our trophy presentation for Capilano. A well-deserved, well-earned victory, soon to be followed by a celebration. And all that hard work that went in on the training ground, all that hard work that went in on the field in previous games and in this one as well today can be enjoyed, as they'll have plenty of time to heal those bumps and bruises over the break until they resume their season next year. And before we do the presentation, we would just like to thank our sponsors who help us bring you streaming rugby here on bcrugby.com. We would like to thank Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avis & Young, Thorstenson's, Langara Fishing Adventures, Adidas, and Big Kahuna.
Ladies and gentlemen, just before we
Here you go.
announcements,
Thank you.
I think we should all give these outstanding young athletes a big round of applause for a fantastic game of rugby. Once again, I'd like to thank Capilano Rugby Club for hosting today. It's been a tremendous event, and thank you very much, and we'll see you back here next week. I also like to say a big thank you to the match officials. Again, we can't do without these guys, so thanks for your help. And coaches, parents, managers, administrators, thank you for all the hard work and effort you put into making it a great season for these guys. So I'd just like to call upon Shane to hand out the runners-up medals to Abbotsford Rugby Football Club. Thank you, well done Abbotsford. Now I'd just like to hand over the individuals' medals to Capilanos.
So Dean Merton from BC Rugby out there now presenting the gold medals to the Capilano RFC U18 Men. A very well deserved recognition of all the hard work that they've put in this season and a strong effort they put forward on the field today. Credit to Abbotsford, they're the silver medalists. They put up a wonderful resistance, got a couple of tries on the board, did their best. They were just outgunned by Capilano. In the end, the more clinical of the two teams. This will be a major milestone in each of these players' rugby careers to date, but certainly a lot more top-level rugby to come for many of these athletes.
like to call up the captain for Capilano Rugby Club for this year's U18 Men's Cup winners.
So Jackson Claridge will accept the plaque for the #1 place finish, the cup finish, as Capilano RFC are your 2014 U18 Men champions. And that does not quite conclude our fall season, as we will be back here at Klahani Park next weekend to bring you Girls Try Rugby, a special event organized by our sponsors RBC and Via Sport. It'll be a wonderful afternoon of girls and women's rugby. We will bring you the full recap of that and potentially some live coverage as well. But it's been a fun fall season of rugby. We hope you've enjoyed our live streaming coverage throughout the season and throughout the day. And that concludes our broadcast. Have a great, safe, happy holiday season, and we look forward to bringing you more rugby soon. Good night, everybody.
A special event which is in support of November and the awareness of men's health. That will be taking place straight after we finish.
BC Rugby has a 125-year history, a history of success and pride. There's a place for everyone, young and old, boys and girls, one spirit, one team. Some play a small part, some larger, and some, the special ones, they know what it takes to grab onto that history and shake it to its core, inspiring us all. They train for hours, alone, pushed by will, determination, no one watching, no one cheering. They find a way to push a little further, to wring out one more set, one more rep. You know your opponent is training hard, so you train harder. Your biggest threat may not be the opposition, because someone always wants to wear your jersey, to take it from you. What are you prepared to do to keep it? That jersey, that crest, forever bonds you to something bigger, makes you stronger than you could ever be on your own. So you push harder, dig deeper until you have nothing left. Because it's all about the team, those fighting beside you now, and those who came before you. BC Rugby, one spirit, one team.